Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the weekend Q&A. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a couple of things. Number one, I really wanted to start with something that I'd done with the Insider Group. I don't think I'm going to have time to finish. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to talk a little bit about a case study that I did on the call just for the people that got the G tools. And I thought it was a good thing because I really wanted to just break it out and post it to the Facebook group. But as it turned out, it didn't. The recording really didn't turn out the way that I'd like for it to. So I'm going to go ahead and do this now. And it's really going to be about one of the things that you can and should be doing with your PLR, or a way to think about it, right? And that really is something that I had a desire to really be talking about, in particular about video PLR. You probably hear a lot about how to use written PLR and how to sell and resell the course. All those things are valid, but there are a lot of things you can actually be doing with video PLR in particular. And I'm going to be talking about that a lot on our training channel. I'm going to be talking about that a lot on what little that I do in the Facebook group. I probably do more on YouTube than I do on the Facebook group. I really just kind of post the replays. I try to answer questions over there, but if you really are looking to try to kind of catch what I'm doing, make sure that you are connected over there on YouTube, as well as being part of our daily newsletter. And yeah, I see your question, Tanisha. Could you write that? I'm sorry. I know you wrote it all in there, and I apologize for that. Could you put that in an email to Sydney, and then she and I can look at that together. We're just getting we're getting oriented, and yeah, we're just getting away from Clickfunnels and having to move all that stuff off of there. So undoubtedly, some of the dust is still on there, but we're gonna clean all that stuff up. We're gonna try to clean it up over the next 2 days. So yeah, if you could put that in an email to Sydney, I'm gonna copy it and paste it. But she's really the starting point. I think I've got it copied and pasted into a document here. But she's really the point person that really kind of makes sure things gets done. Okay. But I've got it all. I've got everything in a notepad file. All right. Okay. So did everybody see what I posted in the Facebook group about the Wall Street Journal? If not, no worries. If you didn't, let's kind of go through. I want to go through that a little bit now in this case study. Now, one of the things that I did, I posted an image there. And this is a picture of the Wall Street Journal. I think it was Wednesday. And if you see the picture down there, right, you'll see that there is there's a course. It says 70%, right? Does everybody see that? Has anybody seen that ad in their local newspaper, or maybe in a newspaper you read? Maybe you read the USA Today. Has anybody ever seen this advertisement? Right? If you haven't, it's not important that you have or hadn't. But what's in the ad is pretty important. Now, if you look closer at the ad, what do you see? What you see here is you see that there is a video course on learning the secrets of getting published, right? And what's interesting about that is that this course is selling for $69. Now, you might say that, well, that's because of the brand or what it is. But at the end of the day, this is a video course, right? It's the same kind of video course that you normally buy when you buy PLR. It's the same kind of video course that you may put together if you do on Camtasia. It's the same kind of video course that you would sell if you were selling on Udemy, or if you bought one on Udemy. This is a video course. It has 26 modules. Now, the Great Courses obviously has a specific brand. We're going to talk about that. But here's the if there is a lesson in this, is that if you have a brand and you also have a method and a way of delivering what it is that you have, listen, this is video instruction that people are going to be willing to buy from you. And this is the same thing if you're willing to work a little bit with a PLR. Now, obviously, you just can't take your PLR video course. You just can't take it with the sales page and just throw it up there or put an ad in the newspaper and expect the people are going to buy it. That's not the idea. If you're willing to work a little bit with your PLR, if you're willing to put a little bit of work into the videos that you get, and I've talked about that in a number of different places. If you're willing to bring context to the video, if you're willing to put it in a case where people are kind of understanding exactly what the context of what you're trying to teach them is, then the videos or the information in the videos is more valuable than what you're buying. What do you have to understand about video PLR? And you really have to get this. If you look at it and understand this, you are buying video instruction at wholesale pricing. It is your job to then take it and turn it into a retail product. If you take a PLR product and you turn it into a retail product, you can ask for more money. Now, if you take a wholesale product and you sell it again at a wholesale price and you turn it into a wholesale product, it's going to sell at a wholesale price. Now, if you get that, please put the number 1 in the live chat box on YouTube if you're watching. So if you understand what I said. So again, if you understand what you're buying with a PLR video course, is you are buying something at wholesale. If you want to put a little work into it and turn it into something that is a retail product, you can sell it at a retail price, which is going to be higher. That is what you and I bring to online marketing, right? We bring to online marketing the context. We bring to online marketing positioning in the niche. But again, that's our job in this, right? Again, nothing wrong with taking the sales page, putting it up, and making it available to other online marketers. There's nothing wrong with that. I encourage you to do that. What I'm telling you is that if you understand what you're seeing in this ad, you do not have to stop there right now. And I call this PLR with street clothes on, right? That's in the Facebook group. Let me move on here. Now, who's the buyer in the Wall Street Journal, right? Who do you think the buyer is? Well, the buyer that the Great Courses is advertising to. Now, there are a couple of things with this. Number 1 is the Wall Street Journal understands their buyer. And so the person advertising goes to the Wall Street Journal and they get what's called the media kit, right? They get the media kit. Now, what you're seeing on this page is part of the Wall Street Journal's media kit. Now, you should go to Google. You can Google media kit, WSJ, or media kit Wall Street Journal, and you should read their media kit so that you can get the full picture of what's happening here. The Great Courses put an ad in the Wall Street Journal to reach the people that are being described in this audience profile. Right? Does everybody understand that? So if you get that part, please put the number 2 in the live chat box if you get that. Right? They're trying to reach this buyer. So who is this buyer in the Wall Street Journal? Who is this buyer? Right? Who is this buyer that they are trying to advertise to? Well, this buyer, they say, right, 62% of them are men. Right? Did you get that? Now, if you caught that, that should be interesting to you. Right? So they're not necessarily with these ads, right? They're not necessarily going to catch mostly women. They're going to catch primarily men with that advertisement. Number 2, what's the average age? It's 43. So if they're looking for a millennial or somebody who's younger, they're not going to reach that person with that ad. Does that make sense? So again, understanding who you are buying, who you want to buy your product when you turn it into a retail product is important, right? There, it makes sense. I think that the ad, right? I think that the ad may have cost them, I think, 100 and some odd thousand, right? Yeah. I think Tanisha says her current boss is 75, probably reads the Wall Street Journal, right? So you're reaching an older set. You're reaching probably men, right? What's their average household income? Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that. That the audience profile is still for the online version, but they do have a profile for the print version. right? I put the audience profile here for the online version because it was easier. It's still basically the same. It's still basically the same. It's not much different between the print version and the audio version, and the online version. Now, the average household income, right, is 242,000, right? That's interesting, right? The average net worth is $1.5 million. So again, the point of showing you this is that they're trying to reach somebody with these ads, right? They've targeted somebody, and they know who they're going after. They know who's going to see this. And so in the very same way, when you put your bait out there to get people into your marketing funnel, you and I need to have some understanding. I'm not saying you have to have this level of demographic information, right, to sell a Facebook product. What I am saying is you got to have some understanding of who you're talking to, because when you start trying to bait people, you have to make some choices about what it is you want to put before people to get them into your marketing funnel. So again, if you're willing to put a little bit of work into your PLR and turn it into a retail product, you charge a higher price, you understand who your audience is. And now let's take a look at the Great Courses website, who they're trying to, what they're trying to do. And I talked about this on the G Tools webinar, but I'm going to talk about this again. If you look at what's right in the middle of the page, right in the middle of the page, and I ask you, what are they trying to do? Right? What do they try? What do you think they want people to do when they come to this site? What do you think they want you to focus on? Right? What is their goal? Right? Their goal is for you to take the free trial and to be looking at the unlimited video streaming. Probably going to leave that print ad. You're probably not going to get on the phone. You're probably going to go to the website. You're going to come to the website, and right in the middle of the page is going to be the unlimited video streaming. So we went from being able to get one course. Now we can stream unlimited and get all the courses we want. So if I've attracted you right, if I've attracted you, maybe you were attracted by the idea of learning how to do your own, how to write your own book. But once you get to the site, they're going to offer you a membership, right? What's the membership of? The membership is of streaming video. What is that? They're all MP4 videos, folks. I mean, what we're really talking about here is streaming video, all of which is something that you and I can put together. Yes, they have a brand. Yes, they have a website, but you can put together a brand and you can put together a website. Now, if I click through here, what am I getting? I'm going to get a free trial. I'm going to get a free trial to unlimited access to hundreds of great courses. I'll have hundreds of PLR videos. Right? How many of you all have hundreds of PLR videos that you can stream? Right? If you don't want to stream them through Amazon S3 and pay for the bandwidth, you can stream them through an unlisted listing in YouTube. Right? Everybody has this stuff. So all I'm telling you is that if you have a brand, if you have context, if you understand the audience that you're trying to sell to, you can market streaming video. Does that make sense? That's basically what I'm trying to show you here. They understand their audience. They understand how they're going about trying to reach them, and they're trying to get them to get this membership. Right now, let's move further. Now, to you and I, this doesn't mean much, right? To people who don't know what we know, this means everything, right? This is obviously all branding, and it's all, it's all direct response, right? But this means a lot of stuff to somebody who's busy, who's probably earning, right, $200 some odd $1,000. They've got to work for that. They're probably busy. So what's the attraction? Well, you can learn this if you have a mobile device. You can learn this on your Roku. You can learn this if you have Chromecast. You can learn this in Windows 10. Now, for you and I, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything, right? We know that we can do all that stuff. Of course, that doesn't mean anything, right? Now, but to the person who's buying this, it means everything. So again, They're taking what we do every day. They're taking the wholesale product and they're putting it in a form for people in their audience to buy in a different way. Right now, let's move on. Now, they're going to give you new subjects, new lectures, and access to over 6,000 videos, right? Discounts and free shipping on CDs. Now, again, I bet they probably don't even have a lot of DVDs or CDs shipped. I bet most people are going to buy the streaming video courses, right? A 43-year-old is probably not going to buy a lot of DVDs, right? They're probably still going to stream that video, even if they want the additional courses. Let's move on. What's the cost? Right does the cost? And I asked this on the G Tools call, but does the cost surprise anyone? What's the cost? Right, you can either get it at $199 billed monthly, or you can get it at $14.99 billed annually. Does that surprise anybody? It's not a lot of money, right? It's not a lot of money that you're asking. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you into what? Recurring income. Recurring income. So all they've done is they've taken a video product. They know who their audience is. They put it in context, and they are marketing this as a retail product. Right now, all the other stuff that you see on this page, I mean, it's direct response copy. They're talking about the benefits and they're talking about some of the features, but they're explaining this to people who are probably pretty busy, right? Who don't have time to go and download video like you and I do, right? These are going to be for people who need convenience, and that's what they're paying for. Now let's move on. They're also going to add in some social proof. Now, again, they say who we work with, right? So some of our people, right? We work with National Geographic. We work with the Smithsonian. We work with the Culinary Institute of America. We work with the Mayo Clinic. Now, again, when you start talking about trying to up your price, right, it's a little more than just writing copy. Adding things like this to your page allow you to turn this into a retail product and for you to be able to raise the price. We're still talking about taking PLR video and turning it into a retail product. Now, what's the brand? Now, I asked this question on the G Tools call. So if you heard me ask that question and you know what the answer is, don't answer right now. So anyone can answer. What do you think? What is their brand? And I kind of gave you a hint by putting a big red arrow there. But what's the USP? What's their unique selling proposition about their courses? Right? What is their branding point? If I had to ask you. So if you know, just write it there in the live chat box. What's their USP? The unique selling proposition about their courses. Right? Anybody. Right? Basically, if you look at the arrow, what they're saying is our courses are what? Yeah, it's access to great colleges. These are not just regular courses. These courses are being taught by professors, right? And more than likely to the crowd that they're trying to appeal to, that's going to be pretty important, right? If you're gonna advertise your product in the Wall Street Journal, right? They're gonna come to this page. You want to be able to say to them, hey, you know what? I bet you value professors, right? In the education you had. So these courses are being taught by professors. Now, all I'm saying to you, I'm not saying you have to go get professors. I'm saying, though, that you have to provide context for the people that you're going to sell to, right? If you can provide context, right, in a way that the people that you're selling to they're going to find it appealing, you are then going to be able to price it the way you want. Again, if you want to sell it as a wholesale course, do that. That's fine. What I am saying to you is that if you can recontextualize it and work with it a little bit, you can actually sell this at a retail price. Now, again, you don't have to sell it at this retail price, but you can sell it in a different context. So again, I want to encourage you that if you are if you want to see more of this, I don't know if you're watching this by archive, if you're watching this by you're watching this live. We have a lot more training on PLR over at youtube.com/gain mindshare. Right. So make sure that you're subscribed over there. I'm going to be doing more of this, and then making sure that you can get that over there. And then also make sure you're part of our Facebook group. You can sign up at facebook.com/groups and the PLR show. And if you're not getting our daily newsletter, make sure that you are. You can do that at the plrshow.com, and just put your name and email address in there. And we talk about PLR every day. And as a matter of fact, between now and the end of the year, right, depending on when you're seeing this, at the probably at the end of 2017, between now and the end of the year, most days we're going to be doing some giveaways of PLR, and it's going to be the PLR that we've created, right? So we're going to be giving off some of the stuff that we've created. I've got way more stuff that I could ever sell, and so what I'm going to be asking you to do is when you get the giveaway, right? If you're part of our daily newsletter, make sure you sign up, and I'm going to ask you to share it in your social media. If you share it on your social media, I'm going to give you 2 that day. So that's pretty much how it's going to work. So again, make sure you're signed up at the plrshow.com. If you're already getting our daily newsletter, you do not have to sign up again. But if you aren't, right, if you're watching this, sign up there, and just be watching. Probably starting Monday, and probably every other day, right? We'll be doing a giveaway, or every two days or so, and I'm going to ask you to share it. And if you share it, I'll give you a second aspect, right? All right. Yeah, Samuel, you can do whatever you need to do inside of the G2 the graphics pack. Right, whatever you need to do for your business. I'm not real. I'm pretty liberal when it comes to that. So whatever you feel like you need to do that'll help your business, you can do it with that. You can do it with any of our PLR packages, that you have. All right. So, any questions? Any questions about any of that? Any questions about I mean, yeah, I do want to touch on a second part of this. And I'd said that I was going to talk a little bit about moving over and sort of why we went over there in the first place. And I was going to do the online brand builder workshop. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to kind of fly through some of this. And let's see. I'm gonna skip this part. And I'm going to skip this. And I'm going to talk a little bit about membership platforms, right? And this was actually going to be part of the lesson. I'm not going to have time to do all this. I am going to kind of talk briefly about membership platforms, and because that's going to be kind of context for what I'm going to talk about for the rest of the session. You can obviously buy WordPress membership sites, right? Membership scripts, right? These obviously work with WordPress, and S2 Member is free. That's the first one that I learned on. They have a paid version. It's a little clunky, but it does work. You can lock up content. There's digital access pass, amazing support, but it is not for the faint of heart. Technical wise, right? It does take some technical know-how. Now they'll set it up for you, but I bought digital access pass. I ended up not using it, mainly because of the time that it was going to take me, and I'm fairly technical. So again, but I will say that their support and their willingness to help is great, fantastic. Member Sonic is probably the easiest that is to use, that works with WordPress, right? Works with JVZoo Warrior Plus, and Wishlist Member is probably the granddaddy, and it's priced that way, right? I think it's $297, and then you've still got to buy plugins in order to make it work, right? So we're not talking about necessarily a cheap solution, but it is probably the one that covers the most, and it does require some technical know-how in order to do that. Now, if you can and you want to work with HTML, you don't want to work with WordPress, you can use a member. A member, from what I can tell, is the most robust system that works with HTML. So if you want to, you don't want to do WordPress, a membership site, you can buy a member, and a member works with HTML pages, right? Very good solution for that. You can buy a cloud-based solution, right? Like the one that I had, which is ClickFunnels, Everlesson, Product Dino, other stuff like that. Now, what do you have to have? Well, the stuff you have to have is you got to have product locking. So in other words, the membership site has to lock up the content so other people can't do it. The other thing is got to integrate with whatever shopping cart you're using. So if right now you're using Warrior Plus to launch stuff, if right now you're using PayPal to launch stuff, then your membership site has to integrate with it. If you have to use a third-party system, like if you have to use Zapier, you got to use something else to connect it, I'm going to say you probably are picking the wrong one, right? That's just me. I know you can go get Zapier, you can connect anything you want, but third-party systems always complicate things in ways that you do not anticipate. And I will tell you that from experience, lots of experience, right? Let's see. Tanisha says, would you recommend WooCommerce for a membership site? I've seen Companion plugins for WooCommerce to extend the store that way. Yes, WooCommerce is also a good one for WordPress. Right. The only reason I don't recommend it is because I have not worked with it personally. I've heard very good things about it, though. And they have an extensive set of plugins that they do, and they build out that system. Right. So again, I've heard nothing but good about WooCommerce. And like I said, the only reason it's not on that list because everything that's on this list is stuff that I've used and I've actually worked with. So that's why I can speak to them a little more authoritatively. Okay. Actually, Product Dino and Everlesson I have not worked with, right? I had no reason to buy those two, but again, those two things I've heard good things about. Now, okay, I want to talk a little bit about why I chose ClickFunnels. I don't like to make these sessions about me, but I think this is instructive, and I do want to kind of talk through this. And I think it's important because I want to share with you probably something that if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't do. Let's see. Dana's asking if I know anything about Swift Member 2 and the vendor being promoted today. I saw Swift Member 2, and I saw the gentlemen that are working with it. I don't know them personally, and my feeling about membership sites, and I think I've said this. I think I said this, Dana, on the Insider call. If I haven't, I might have said it in a weekend Q&A call. A membership site is really and truly like getting married. It really is. And there is kind of what everything looks like when when you're in love and when you're newlyweds, but at the end of the day, right? It's really once you move in, you start living together, and that's when the real marriage starts, right? And so you really do have to look at a membership site like somebody you're gonna marry, and you have to look beyond the love and the starry eyes and the newness and the untestedness. And my feeling, Dana, is that I don't know Swift Member well enough, and I wouldn't marry them. That's so it has nothing to do with the vendors. It's that and that I know anything bad about them. It's just that I don't know them. I don't know the platform. It hasn't been tested, and I don't want to get married and have a customer experience depending on making that work. Right. And let's see. Tanisha says, I drowned in ClickFunnels. I never go back again. Too expensive. Personally for me, I'm too technical in ways that are not advertised, not to mention you don't own your own platform. That is part of the thing. Right. That is part of it. And I am going to touch on that, Tanisha. Yeah. So here's one of the reasons I chose ClickFunnels, because I did not want to depend on my server to send out emails, right? So again, I mean, I was kind of feeling like overwhelmed with trying to figure out SendGrid and trying to figure out SMTP and Amazon. And I said, you know what? I don't want to deal with that stuff. I'll pay ClickFunnels, and I'll use their membership platform so I could do it. In the end, it probably took me about a day to figure out SMTP. And here's the kicker. I ended up having to figure it out for Clickfunnels anyway, right? Because Clickfunnels didn't even have their own email system. They had SMTP, and I had to figure it out anyway. So that reason didn't turn out to be a very good reason for choosing Clickfunnels. I chose because they were going to be hosting the membership platforms, right? And so because of that, I said, well, if I have a launch and people are going to their membership platform, then it's going to be less load on my server. And actually, the thing that I didn't anticipate was that I still had to host the files. I still had to host the content. And so during the Camtasia launch, during the first 3 hours, there was so much traffic to the Microsoft servers, they throttled it anyway. So that reason didn't turn out to be a good one, because it was all about where the files are hosted. So again, at the time, I balked at paying $300 or $400 for wishlist member. I said, well, I can get in for, I can start with ClickFunnels for $97, and maybe I'll go back and I'll figure it out. I never went back and figured it out. And $97 turned out to be a lot more once I made more products, and ended up getting to $297 a month when I should have just paid the $297 and bit the bullet and then learned how to use the platform, right? So again, not just not a good reason. And it's the same thing I fuss at people about. I actually did the very same thing myself. I got ClickFunnels for one-click upsells. However, one-click upsells do not work with PayPal, which is what I use. It doesn't work with Warrior Plus, which is what I use. And so that ended up being a feature I couldn't even use. And the only way I could use it was to use it with Stripe, right? Which I barely use. So again, what I thought was a reason was not a reason. They connect through Warrior Plus, but it's not a direct connection, right? So Warrior Plus does not lock somebody out if they stop paying or if they don't pay, right? So the connection was a I would say it's an aftermarket connection that didn't turn out to be something that actually worked the way I thought it was going to be. I thought I could use this in my local area, right? I thought it would be. I didn't want people to go to Warrior Plus because I didn't want them to be on the Warrior Plus list. I didn't want them to be on the JVZoo list. So I wanted to use this locally. And I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. As it turned out, I just never did really get this off of the ground. I got it for the autorespondent analytics. And I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. Now, this is actually, I think probably one of their selling features, because I honestly felt like if I paid on a monthly basis and I was getting good reporting and I could make decisions, then I could really do something. I could really do something with the information. As it turned out, the analytics portion was very complicated to get working and to get information from. I could get basic reports, but the reporting that I got was no different from was no different from Aweber. Right now, so what's the moral of the story? Right, because the moral of the story is not don't buy from ClickFunnels. Right now, you know, Tanisha, you might you had the same experience, but still, I still think though that ClickFunnels could be right for somebody. I still think that. It wasn't right for me, and obviously it wasn't right for Tanisha. I don't think the moral of the story is not to buy from ClickFunnels. I think that, number one, and this is what I did not do, and if I had to do over again, I would try to do this. You got to test the customer's experience, and you got to test the customer experience with what you're buying. Because if you don't do that, then you have no idea until you're already in it. Because if you've already created a product and sold it, and then you figure out on the day you're getting ready to launch that the customer experience is not quite what you like it to be, it's too late. So you got to know what the customer experience is before you actually invest. However you do that. Now, I don't know if you might not be so much into getting things and refunding them and all that stuff. Then, you just take the loss for a month, right? So if you pay $97 and you eat it, so no worries, right? Because it's still, if you buy it, you test the experience, it doesn't work, you don't go through with it, right? And that is something I did not do. The other thing I didn't do was you have to plot out the full experience and test that. What do I mean by that? Well, I didn't know what it was like. Actually, I did. I did, because I bought from a gentleman who sold offline products, and I bought 2 things that were on Clickfunnels. And I remember thinking, well, this is weird. I have 2 logins and 2 passwords from Clickfunnels. And so I wrote their support and I said, well, hey, you know what? I don't know if your system knows this, but I have 2 products. They're both from Clickfunnels. Can you combine my accounts? And they said no, right? And I didn't put 2 and 2 together, and I didn't remember that as a customer. So one of the things you got to try to do with whatever you do is you have to plot out the full experience. So if you know you're going to be doing more than 1 product, you got to try to figure out what life is going to be like for people if they have 2, right? I did not do that with Clickfunnels. The other thing is, can you grow to the next 2 stages of your business? And this is when I figured out that I had to move, because I know what I wanted to do. I know what I want to do next, and I know what I want to do after that. And I know I can't do that with Clickfunnels. I cannot grow beyond those 2 things. So, for example, wanting to have a semi-private area, right? That I may or may want to have it to be paid. I can't necessarily do that effectively with Clickfunnels, right? Any more than I can do it with anything else. I can't necessarily. It doesn't make it any easier to do a coaching program. I can't do that, right? And so because of that, I said that I probably should just go ahead and bite the bullet, even though I had been spending a lot, just like Tanisha's writing here. I had paid $297 a couple, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I said, well, maybe I just need to just kind of get real. Say, I can't do this. This is something that I didn't do until the end. So I got Clickfunnels because I needed the analytics. And then I said, okay, well, now if I don't have it, how can I get this stuff with what I have? Now, Aweber, I've been with them since 2007. And I can honestly say that until I actually did the Aweber course, I didn't really dive deep into their analytics and how they worked. And so it's like everything else. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. And so, yes, Aweber is complicated, but I can figure it out with Aweber because I've been with them a long time, and because I know where the problems are, and I know what's happened over the years, and I can kind of read what I need to do. So there are things that I will know about Aweber I will never learn with another new platform. And so analytics, I already had it. I had to figure out how to use it. Same thing with SendGrid and SMTP, right? Same thing with that. I just had to sit down. I had to lock myself away, and I had to give up on stuff for that day, and then just go figure out how to use it. Right? That's what I had to do. And yes, I lost a day of work working with SMTP, but in the end, that probably should have been the thing that I should have done instead of paying the $97 and getting started with Clickfunnels, just to avoid that. One-click upsells was something I thought I wanted, but it didn't even fit my business model. So that was just a dumb thing, right? Customer list building, right? Customer list building. So again, I felt like I should have been able to figure out the analytics and their autoresponder. I never did. And so what you have to try to do, and the real more of the story is, you have to evaluate the real nature of what it's going to cost you to operate, right? And I know I've said that on other calls. When you buy something, whenever you buy software, right? I don't care what anybody tells you. Um, and I don't mean this in a bad way, and I don't mean this in a negative way. You have to figure out what it's going to cost you to operate. I did not do that with Clickfunnels. And if it's going to cost you more time, if it's going to cost you because you got to go buy Zapier to get it connected, and you got to spend time to figure stuff out, and you already have something that's half doing the job, but if you learn how to use it, it could probably do the job, then you need to stick with what you have, or consider sticking with what you have until or unless you just got to pay more and get the Cadillac, right? So again, and when I say the Cadillac, I mean if you have to buy the most expensive version of whatever it is you're trying to get, membership platform, whatever the case is, and you're trying to avoid that by buying something that's cheaper, I can tell you, you will probably end up getting rid of that cheaper thing, right? And you'll end up buying the more expensive thing, and you would have lost the time anyway. You have to. The moral of the story, and this is what I talked about in my email. I said I was going to share with you the moral of the story. You have to evaluate the real nature of pricing and the cost of operation. You have to, right? And you have to evaluate the nature of your time also, right? You have to evaluate the nature of your time. Now, I put a story in my email. I don't know if you saw it today, that if you went to my site, I don't know, sometime last week, there were all Chinese characters on that site, and I said, and that generally just has not happened to me, right? I don't have a high traffic volume site. There's no reason anybody would be after me. Now, here's what I will say. I bought a plugin, and it was $27. And that $27, if the plugin worked, was going to save me from paying $47 a month for a service I was using, right? Smart decision, pretty much. However, I had to let the individual inside of my site to do some work to fix my WordPress installation. 3 days to the day that person was in there, my sites were hacked. So now, can I blame them that they were the ones that actually caused that to happen? I can't, because I don't know WordPress well enough to know whether or not that person did it or it was connected to buying that plugin. But what I will say is that moving from that $47 a month service to the $27 thing, when I went to get support about that, they wanted nothing to do with the hacked sites. So again, did I really save anything by moving from $27 to moving from $47 a month to $27? I don't think I did. And it doesn't matter, right? In the long run, I guess $50 a month, right? For the next, I don't know, year, it's going to be some number, right? It's going to be $600. At the end of everything, $600, yeah, it's more than 27. But if I can't operate a site for 3 or 4 days or for a week or for a month, I mean, I could lose that much. And so my point to you is that you have to evaluate the real cost. Here are 2 instances I did not do that. Here are 2 instances where something I don't normally do, which is I got caught up into the copy, and I said, oh, I can save this. I'm going to take the cheaper version. Who wouldn't? I'm going to tell you, evaluate the real cost and the pricing and evaluate your time, then make your decision. Do not ever make the decision just based on the price, right? Don't do it based on the price. That is what I will tell you. And so I will say that to you in earnest. I would say that to you having made probably every blunder there was when it comes to this, and hopefully, this will help you as you start to make some of these decisions, and you start to evaluate sales copy, you start to evaluate whether or not something's right for you. All I'm saying to you is, don't do it solely based on cost. If you do it based on cost, figure out the cost, what it's going to cost you to operate, test out the entire customer experience, even if you have to buy it and eat the cost for a month, and plot out the experience and test it. All right. Any questions? Any questions? Hey, thank you, Tanisha. I'll keep that in mind. I appreciate that. Any questions? Well, obviously, this went longer, and I wasn't able to get through the the educational portion of what I wanted to do with the insider piece. I will have to figure out another time to do that. I hope that this has been helpful to you, and that whether or not you're using PLR to build a brand, or to build some kind of recurring income, or even if you're just at that point where you're evaluating solutions as to whether or not you're going to do certain things in your business, hopefully some of this has been helpful to you. All right. So with that, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.